was some problems with him the other day, about an hour and a half, 2 hours into deliberating.
What did he say? What
Juror 20.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. So, a 2016 surveillance video obtained exclusively by CNN shows Sean Diddy Combs grab, shove, drag, and kick his then girlfriend, Casey Ventura, during an altercation that matches allegations in a now settled federal lawsuit filed by Casey Ventura back in November. The footage, compiled from multiple camera angles dated March 5th, 2016, appears to show Diddy during an incident that, according to Casey's complaint, occurred at the now closed Intercontinental Hotel in LA. In the video, Casey exits a hotel room and walks to a bank of elevators. Then Diddy, holding a towel around his waist, runs down the hall after Casey. He grabs her by the neck and throws her to the floor. Still holding his towel closed with one hand, he then turns to kick her.
Way to treat women. The Puff trial.
Yeah. It's back to the sarcasm point that Mark made earlier.
I thought I killed that one.
Terrible segue.
Oh, here we are.
We're coming near an end.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Closing arguments. The jury is deliberating. Actually, while we're here in real time,
I was about to check.
we are watching our phones to see if this verdict comes in. Juror number 25, I don't know if everybody heard, there was some problems with him the other day, about an hour and a half, 2 hours into deliberating.
did he say? What
Juror 25, we don't know his position. We just know that the jury sent a note to the judge that says, one of these niggas is in here giving us a hard time.
Yeah, he's not following instructions.
Right. Yeah, not following the rules of jurying. So we don't know if that means the jury is pro-Puff and this guy's against it, or if they're against Puff and this guy is pro-Puff.
You know what nobody's considered? Mistrial.
Because there won't be a mistrial.
It's going to be tough now at this stage. I mean, the only way it would be now is if it's a hung jury.
On a Fed case.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is a mistrial because of a hung jury. That's what I meant.
They said on the news that the judge has the power in the Fed case to excuse one juror if they're not following the rules, and the rest of the 11 still continue to deliberate.
And there's also multiple charges, so a hung jury on one charge, I think, does not necessarily mean the whole shit is thrown out.
They would have to be unable to reach any verdict on anything, which would be seems unlikely. I suspect they agree on a few things.
How many charges is he still facing? Because I know they supposedly dismissed a few.
Well,
You thought you ate.
I know the three big ones are still there. Like the things they pulled back, like the arson, the things that the Kid Cudi thing, stuff that really we weren't even talking about in the news that much. But the fact that the jury asked about specific details and certain legal language sounds like they're really hung up over some things. So,
Hey, can y'all just take a break for a second?
This nigga's stupid. Something is wrong with it.
yeah.
I hate them. They should be separated. They should be fucking separated. You know what? Next show,
No, it's true.
Mark, please.
Yeah,
sit
I'm
here.
gonna
You sit the fuck
No,
in
that
the
might be
corner.
worse though.
Oh yeah, direct line of sight.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't do nothing.
Either way. Either
All we
way.
said was,
I'm on your side.
were you hungry?
Don't say
She said, you know what said. Well.
This nigga gonna whisper. You thought you ate. I heard him. I just ignored it.
I love Mel. Anyway, I'm sorry, because they was being too mature. Okay, my bad, Mark. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Anywho's.
Yeah, we're looking.
Yeah, there's no update.
Nah, I don't see no update.
There's no update, but I expect within the next 48 hours we'll see a verdict, if not sooner.
What position do y'all think Juror 25 is taking in there?
Pro-Puff. Yeah. I think it was pro-Puff. I think Juror 25 had his mind made up. I think he was pro-Puff. And I think they went in, and from what I heard, that the judge gave them like real specific instructions as to what the charges meant and legally, you know what I'm saying? So I think he went in there on some,
I don't give a fuck about that. No.
Then he went up and said, They said, nah, it was defined as X, Y, and Z.
Right.
No.
Yeah, that's my gut.
But and they only would excuse him if he's doing what? Being belligerent?
Yes.
No, if he's just not.
Because he can say, no, I don't agree with this. He can have a stance. They shouldn't excuse him for
But you can't
his
ignore the directions. For example, if they say
And that's the problem.
trafficking is X, he can't say, well, I know he did X, but I don't think that's trafficking.
And that's the problem.
And that's where it gets tricky. And it seems like the fellow jurors at the very least are concerned that he's not following the judge's instructions. And the judge responded and said, you are legally bound to follow the instructions.
There's a reason why it's called jury deliberation.
Gotcha, man.
And they said the judge took a long time to literally spell out all of the instructions.
Right.
Wait, why is it called jury deliberation?
Stop it. Stop fucking with me.
I'm not. Don't know. Now,
Because
I didn't know
that's-
too far. I don't know this neither.
It's called jury deliberation. Like what the example that we're giving is not a deliberation where he's ignoring instructions that are given. You have to deliberate by way of going over all of the facts, going over all of
Gotcha,
the.
Joe. Isn't that obvious?
See, maybe I don't know what deliberate means. Why can't I go over the fact
And then not
Come
agree.
to my conclusion
Yeah, I
and
don't
say,
agree with this. Yeah.
I don't agree with y'all.
See, and that's where this trial shit is.
Or the other way.
Right.
We'll come, or go over the facts. Y'all all say no, and I'm saying, yeah, no. He's still guilty.
Well, there's a reason why 11 people in the room agree that this particular one is a problem child.
Again, you
that
can
could be.
disagree.
See, I don't. That could just be we ready to
Yo,
go.
fam. No, I disagree with that. I think that y'all could come from a different place than I. Y'all see X this way, and I don't see it that way.
If I say, yes, I agree that ICE planned and plotted this murder of Mark, I agree with all of that, but I'm not finding them guilty because, you know what I mean? I don't think that should be what murder is. Right? You have a right to disagree with my interpretation of facts, but you can't ignore what the law says. Because then there'd be no point in having
Even
a
if the
jury.
law says that and I just don't agree.
Agree with what, though?
That they proved the case. Yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you.
Yes, that's fine. You can't say, I agree with everything the prosecution said, but I'm still not finding them guilty.
No.
Or like if you say, yo, that's not
judge-
trafficking what he did.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't
That's
agree with that.
specific.
That's not trafficking.
Yeah. But then the judge says, yo,
By definition, it is.
to say
Right.
that somebody
Yeah.
trafficked somebody, if you coerce them, if you promise them some money, some shoes, a dinner, whatever, and you flew them beyond state lines to come over here to get those items
Yeah.
for some sex, technically you trafficking somebody, right? By law. So every nigga that flew them out, as the girls be saying, I'm getting flued out, that's trafficking.
They say jury number 25 is a 51-year-old veterinarian who lives in Manhattan with his domestic partner, a freelance graphic designer.
Oh, he's
The juror
with the
has a
freak-offs.
doctorate in molecular biology and neuroscience and enjoys nature documentaries, opera, and hiking.
Yeah.
Why does it
That's
sound
a
like a
lot
dating
of
app?
information about that person that people might
That's
be able
crazy.
to say, figure out who
people
that,
don't know who
They're
that
supposed to be
is.
anonymous.
Yeah.
That is fucked up,
That's
bro.
insane.
Because that's like 3 people.
Yeah, word.
Like in America.
Yes, that's fucked up.
How did you find that information, Parks?
Routers. right in the news.
I ain't even have to dig far.
Not
Word.
at
That's
all.
Yeah.
crazy.
That's unfortunate.
That's fucked up. That is really fucked up. All jokes aside, oh boy.
So that's the new juror that came in, right? When they removed the black man?
that I'm not sure of.
That we don't know, but that's where my conspiracy theory brain turns on.
You said he was 51.
He is 51.
Yes.
Nigga put it
the
on
other
the
juror-
people's in
The
it.
other juror was 51. The
41.
juror that they
Sorry, I didn't say
replaced
that.
Was
I didn't say
41, I
that.
thought.
No, I thought he was older.
Maybe. I thought he
thought
was
he was
41
older.
year old.
According to Complex, he's a 50-year-old. It was kind of implied in the last statement, but a 51-year-old gay white man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was implied in the last
was implied.
one. Domestic partner.
That nigga in there holding Puff down. I ain't gonna hold you. Hey, shut the fuck up, Jackie.
Yo,
Because my thing is, the 11 of y'all done came to this conclusion too soon. We've been in here 90 minutes. And y'all sending notes to the judge. Shut up, Rebecca. You been that jerk, my nigga. He is in there letting them have
and
it.
he could talk how he want.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he a
got
scientist.
misogynistic.
Yeah, nah, he in there telling
he
them,
probably
tell them
going
to,
crazy.
oh, please. She was complicit. He was complicit. We all hand out pills. Now, listen, the note that they sent to the judge,
Wow.
We all what?
we all handed out some pills.
You fucking
Yeah,
can't
that's what
say
he
that.
said that.
Oh, bleep it there.
Parks, please.
It's fine.
Is it possible it's the opposite? That everyone was about to find him not guilty and this is the one person?
I said that.
Or I'm just saying, or whatever the inverse is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It could be.
Maybe. You don't see it.
And that could lead to some other shit.
The note that they sent to the judge right after that was, Your Honor, question, because we need help back here. If someone asks for drugs and someone gives it to them, is that distribution? That question tells me
Great question.
that dude might be back there being pro-puff. Because that sounds like somebody saying they asked for it, he happened to have some on him. That's like when I used to go out with the perk heads. If they looked at me and said, hey,
You got one,
you got a perk?
Well, what do you
and
know?
you happen to have one.
I happen to have a perk, nigga.
That is a very fucking, because even before marijuana was legal, like you would smoke with your homies. You know what I mean? Like I'm not distributing.
Yeah,
drugs.
but
Well, is the
Parks,
question that it's-
what if I can have a lot of coke? Not because I'm a drug dealer, but just because I'm rich and have a lot of coke. And you have a party say, "Can you bring some coke?" And I'm not bringing a little bit of coke.
I think my point still stands.
No. But I'm saying for some people that's when it becomes distribution. Because if I order
Over a certain amount.
a shitload of coke
They
and then I
tap that
bring a
on.
shitload of
You
coke,
sound like a great guy to have at the party.
You sound like my rich homeboy when you come
You
here.
another invite.
You always get over here.
Bring the party favors.
Said
Well,
it'd
is
be
it-
boats full of coke.
is it-
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. At some point, it feels a little more.
In the eye of the law, that number is low, right? Like when I got arrested and I had 7 pills on me, they said this was you intending to distribute. Had you had 3, maybe that's for personal use. Same with weed. I think it's like a gram, a couple
Yeah, I
grams.
forgot.
I forgot.
There used to be a number. But I forgot what it was, but
Because your lifestyle and money should matter.
it also depends on how it's
I
packaged.
think if it's packaged, like
Yeah, if it's broken up,
individually
yeah.
wrapped, like if you got a big thing of weed, you could say that's for my personal use. But if you got 77 dime bags,
Right. Yeah, that I get. Because you got paraphernalia.
you got bottles of wham. You're not just out. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
But if I'm a billionaire and I got a fucking
A bowl of coke.
a bowl of coke, I'm a billionaire. I can afford a bowl of
I
coke.
agree with you.
I ain't distributing shit except to the
No,
pub.
but even in that, when you start talking about, I know from criminality standpoint, with regards to drug
The statutes ain't up yet, bro. Just be careful.
Look,
Talk slow.
with regards to drug sales,
slow.
distribution is selling of the product.
Yeah.
From what they are saying, I think about Puff,
Distribution
it's
is
charity.
literally handing it
Giving
out.
it out.
That's charity.
Yeah, it's giving it away. From our standpoint, well, not our.
Oh,
From-
speak for yourself. What you mean we white man?
Distribution used to imply you were selling it with
Right.
the intent to distribute.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You were trying to sell the drugs, not just give them away. So I think all that shit comes down to verbiage and how it's
If
So
I'm
look,
juror 25, I'm telling them niggas kick off your shoes and relax your feet. y'all can grab a Snickers, get you a sandwich. I'm undecided.
Yep.
So
Reese,
look,
what'd you
Ish,
find?
They can get that nigga out of there.
to distribution, it's not just sale. It's sale, transportation, or transfer of controlled substances.
Well, how was I supposed to get it from my house to the club? What are you talking? The judge, the Lord just be
Yo,
making
shit be
shit
crazy,
up
yo.
to jam us up.
And can include selling, delivering, or sharing.
Right.
There it is.
See, that's
That's what now it's,
All right,
now it's
y'all
tricky.
doing
some of
that.
these drug laws need to change too.
I'm-
See now, what if you're a juror that feels like some of these laws need to change? Anyway, if you guys were a member of the jury, how would you be voting?
Why would you ask that question?
Because I knew that we would try to hide behind some of the facts of the case and give none of our real, actual opinions.
That's my plan right
I think
now.
he would be guilty on from the evidence that I've seen has been presented. The sex trafficking, I think, for trafficking for intent to prostitute or whatever that charge
he would be
was.
guilty on the prostitution charge.
Yeah,
I don't think sex trafficking charge, I would find him guilty, but I would find him guilty on the prostitution charge.
I think it was transporting with intent to prostitute, whatever that charge was.
you pay for some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if under the eyes of the law, that's against the law.
All right. Not sex. See,
And that charge, by the way, carries. I was just listening to someone talk about it. It's. It could be as low as just parole or probation or whatever.
That's what I'll find.
Let me be clear here with my answer.
Oh boy.
I'm only speaking. You said if I were the juror. This is some get back. Too many innocent brothers. Not saying Puff is innocent. But my mind would have been made up walking in there before we even had the trial started. I'm gonna send him home.
Like O.J. Simpson.
Yep. I'm gonna tell the truth. Oh, sorry. Some get back.
Get back.
Yeah, some get back.
If I did 30 years in prison for some shit I ain't do, watching Puffy Harlem Shaking this summer,
I ain't had nothing to do. I didn't have
feel better about
I didn't have nothing to do with your 30 years.
That's what I'm saying. It would make me feel better to see Puff get free, though. Is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Based on the law, I would find him guilty.
I'm not looking at the law.
All of them.
All of them. Wow.
All the ones that remain.
I'm not looking at the law.
Which is racketeering, transportation with intent to prostitute, and sex trafficking.
Yeah. Now all that Cuddy shit, I can't. You can't.
Now let me. Now by your hold on. By your.
I'm just talking about the sentencing is different. You know what I mean? But I would give the lowest sentence possible for all those things.
What's the lowest sentence for the RICO?
10 years? I think it was 10 years.
I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me. I don't remember. But whatever the range is, I would give it the lowest end of it if I had to give a sentence. Obviously, I don't fuck with the whole system.
Don't the judge do the sentence?
What'd you say?
Don't the judge issue the sentence?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I would do as far as the verdict.
But he asked you what you would do if you were the
right,
juror.
the juror doesn't give the sentence.
Yeah, but what would you do?
I said guilty on all the charges.
Oh, you'd be guilty on
all the charges. Yeah, I'm saying guilty on all the charges. I ain't running from it.
I do think he's guilty on all the charges, but I'm just saying if I'm the juror, I don't give up. Sorry.
Anybody else?
Anybody else want to answer?
No, everybody need to answer. Joe set us up.
No,
I'm telling the truth.
I answered.
What'd you say?
I said I would find him guilty on the prostitution shit.
I agree with him.
Flip.
Same thing.
They just giving the nigga slap on the wrist.
I'd find him guilty on all three.
Go to the people.
Joe?
I'm letting him out. What are y'all talking about?
He said you let him out.
I'm sorry, bro.
I'm letting him out.
With the good.
Yeah, and he's been up here. He's fucking stressed out.
Let your feet breathe, my nigga.
You be mad as hell when a nigga that came and got you from jail ain't bring a snack, sandwich, but the real regular pants, shoelaces.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yo, what? Bringing an outfit?
Until I picked a couple niggas up from jail.
Yeah, bring an outfit, nigga.
My brother was mad as shit the last time I picked him up from jail.
Yeah.
I think I drove over to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, nigga.
Stop on the way, my
Get some Steelers or Pirates gear on your way, nigga.
nigga.
He was mad as shit.
Yeah.
That nigga Roethlisberger.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm sorry. But again, I would be in there, assuming that's what juror number 25 is doing, I would be in there doing that. I feel like a lot of people are complicit. I feel like my understanding of the law is a little different from what y'all telling me it is.
You gotta be in your 12 Angry Men shit.
Or not just that, yo. My understanding of culture is different. That is huge. Like, my understanding of what entertainers are doing, athletes are doing. Like, if a rapper or a ball player says, yo, I got a 3-day layover and blah, 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 fly out here. Yo, what you doing? We gonna go eat, go shopping, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. That's trafficking.
That's not trafficking, though.
The way you read it.
Look,
that's not trafficking. I promise you it's not.
It's a line on one of the songs on the Clips album, and he says, tell me, are we trafficking or tricking? Because somebody got to show me the difference.
Here's the difference. Just from, if
and that's
I
what people
fly somebody out for sex, if I fly somebody out and we have sex, that's not trafficking.
No.
If I fly somebody out and say, hey, we're going to spend the weekend, you know, hey, we should fuck.
No, what's the da-da-da-da-da in the middle? I'm going to take you shopping.
None of that is trafficking. It becomes trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And also, let me just hear me out. And also, for the purpose of forcing someone into sexual labor, or, I mean, y'all shaking your head, but...
No, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
Forcing somebody into labor or sex work. It's not saying that I can't move you from one place to another or facilitate you to go from one place to another for sex.
With all I've heard, I can't convict him of that.
No, and when we read it up here before, they said coercion by money, gifts, etc. We read it on the stage a few times. So if
but that's not coercion, though. If I say, hey,
that was their
definition, it was.
We read it up here, Mark.
No, I understand what coercion is. I'm saying, me saying to you, hey, I want you to come out here. I'm going to give you some money, come out here. That's not the coercion part. Coercion is if I withhold money, force money, take away your green card, or use money to force you into sex work or into sex trafficking. A person having sex with me who consensually wants to have sex with me isn't sex work.
You know what else is coercion? When she decides to turn around and say, when I went out there, I had to have sex with him. it turns into like that.
Bro,
that's
we
what they're talking about. The
we
gray,
read on the
gray
show. I can't
areas in
find
here.
it right now.
Yeah.
We read on the show where it says, "Yo, you can coerce somebody by giving gifts
It can
or
be
giving
coercion.
cash."
Right, to force them into, we're going in a circle, but into sex work, not into having sex, is what I'm saying. Saying to somebody, hey, come have sex with me. Hey, I'm going to buy you something, I'm going to do this. That doesn't constitute sex work because, I mean, it doesn't constitute sex work and it doesn't constitute coercion. But it does become gray when you start to say, how fly you are, I want you to have sex with me.
And others.
And now you're at a party fucking people you don't know, because then the person might say, to your point, like, well, yeah,
You tricked me.
I came out to have sex with Mark. I didn't come out here to be at a party. I didn't come out here to pay for these other things.
And then maybe payment is withheld until said acts are done.
Or I was tricked. To their point, I was tricked, right? I came out here to have sex with you, and now I'm here at this house, and three other
sex
people
with
push.
other people.
That's where it can become coercion or fraud.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that he's sex trafficked. Listening to what you're saying and what you guys are saying, I don't believe that he did that. The sex trafficking part. And also, what just don't sit right for me is that. Well, a lot don't sit right with me, but I'm not going to make this part hey, let me tell you everything that don't. I'm not that crazy. But what I will say is the way that the defense described Puff's contact with Cassie's mom, that changed a lot. That said to me that mom has been a phone call away this whole time and has been aware of our relationship. Maybe not aware of all the details and the abuse, but he's not on trial for the abuse, so I'm not really talking about that aspect of it. But a mom and a parent being that close, that means something to me. That means something to me. It does.
He's not on trial for the abuse, Joe. But be clear,
they're going to get him for the abuse.
The abuse is what
they're going to get him
to justify whatever.
That's like they got OJ for some of the murder shit and the memorabilia shit. I understand.
Yeah.
Also,
or when they sentenced them the second time after pushing up on the niggas, they gave them all them years.
The memorabilia,
memorabilia.
Yeah. And they gave him damn near, they roofed him.
Yeah, they got him out of here.
Or something.
But you also got to know when the law wants you.
That's the thing. I think in this case they want him.
They want him.
No, they want him.
Also, though, it don't sit right with me that somebody called on some, yo, I'm about to put a book out. If you don't, we settled. I settled so that we didn't have to go through any of that. I paid a hefty amount of money. And the feds came and took that. And
you settled after she sued, though. You settled, but they called. You said, fuck out of here. I'm calling your bluff.
I think we enter a dangerous place where the feds are going to start investigating all civil suits.
And then subpoena you.
And then start subpoenaing everybody involved in offer. I think we get to a dangerous place when that starts happening. I do.
I think Puff was doing some foul shit for decades. I don't think anybody up here will refute that. I do think, and as maybe unpopular as it is to say, that, and again, some of us, I think, are more privy to what goes on behind entertainment doors than the masses are. It's a real gray game, fam. It's not a black or white game. It's a really gray game. And then when I heard some of the testimony, because I wasn't reading it every day like a lot of people, but there are specific things that were said that people just brushed over in that story and in the testimony. Like, we got what we got it because most times we already made our minds up pre-trial. Like,
especially once the video dropped.
I'm sure you stood on.
His mind was made up.
Fry that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. Some of us are like, fam, Cassie's best friend said, yo, I told her to leave him alone. And she said, yo, where I'ma go? Jay-Z's already taken. When you say stuff like that, fam, I gotta interpret that a little bit differently. I'm sorry, bro. I have to interpret that different.
Because not knowing the context.
I was in the context.
It could be jokey, I don't know.
And even in the midst of trauma, as much trauma as we laugh through up here and mock and joke, like, I want to give somebody the space to say maybe even in the midst of a fucked up situation, they made an off-color remark or a jokes be dipped in truth too. She might have said, like, I don't want to leave this lifestyle, but it doesn't mean that she's not due protection and safety and all these. And I know you're not saying she's not.
But
the
two things have no. That means that, in my opinion, and again, I don't want to. Fam, you are saying that I won't leave this horrible situation because I want to stay in the lifestyle. And the only other dude that can provide that lifestyle for me at this level is Jay-Z.
And I'm saying, if we knew that she was completely happy and complicit, never wanted to leave, never felt any coercion, and she was just selfish and using people and all this other shit, then I'd have a different position on it. I just don't want to. I don't want to equate that statement to that,
to her whole experience,
to that mindset, right? And I think it's sometimes we look for, not you, but I'm saying in general, we look for outs, and I think that's an easy out to not have to hold the powerful accountable, to look at sort of this one thing she said, because for a lot of people, and I think you've been fair-minded about this, but for a lot of people, even if we took that quote out, they'd find another reason.
Oh no,
and
honestly,
another reason.
You know what adds to that to me? Even once she got out and got away, you were still reaching back to try to get in touch with him, saying, "I mean, like that, like you made it away from your captor or whatever." And again, I'm not I'm not saying he's
one last freak off for the road
guilty. I'm not saying
that's the biggest argument on the Puff side.
It's like
that you did hear every one of the ladies come up there and say I was jealous when I was removed from the situation. I think that's the biggest thing that argues the other side of this.
I think maybe because I lived in such close proximity to a child molester, Nicole, and I watched people struggle with that, struggle with love,
struggle with the ambivalence of having competing emotions.
Yeah.
That really are like
Yeah, they wanted to go back.
Yeah.
I've met people literally go back after they were molested.
But don't. It wasn't there enough time or a gap in time for you to get your thoughts together and feelings together to realize?
No.
For me, yes, people. But he didn't molest me. But for people, I know some of the people who were much younger or who had a different type of dependency on him, emotionally, financially, all those things. Some were molested, some left, some came back, some changed their statement.
But hold up. While I understand that, I do think it's unfair to paint someone and their romantic relationships through the same lens as the relationship between a molester and the victim.
I agree. My point is not that it's the same. It's just that I don't assume that because someone does something that looks like X, that the only way we can read it is through that lens.
Got it.
People do weird things for weird reasons. That's what I'm saying.
You're absolutely correct.
That's true.
That's true.
Because even like they spoke to her jealousy of Kim.
Yeah.
People spoke to her jealousy even of Carisha. You get what I'm saying? So,
but I'm not even just talking about her. Repeatedly, the women that went up there said, yes, I was jealous of this one. I was jealous of this one. It wasn't just one person, but Mark is still correct in what he's saying.
Yeah, like, yo, I'm in purgatory, but I'm jealous of y'all going through the same hell.
Right, and I think being molested is so awful. To me, it's even easier to understand how somebody who was getting diamonds and flown out in part could want that lifestyle, but also I think she genuinely loved and probably still, quiet as kept, loves him deeply.
But it's a warped form of love. Yeah. Like a super warped form
and you're
of
conflicted.
love.
But do you understand the other argument that people are making about this shit, where it's like, okay, you got away, you were addicted to the lifestyle. Now, how else can I get the lifestyle without? Let me go file some paperwork against you. Let me try to extort you via a book first. Like, there are people making. I mean, the arguments make sense.
I don't know Cassie well enough to make the case that it's one or the other. I'm just saying that sometimes people look at a single statement or a single thing as a smoking gun of proof of the other side. And I'm just saying, there's no smoking guns here to me. This is a very complicated, gray, messy thing.
Yes, very gray.
That's all I'm saying.
All different types of
Both sides are doing. You're right. Because people are looking at the video as a smoking gun.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying there are no smoking guns here. It's complicated and messy. Well, the thing we know for sure is that Puff did fucked up shit.
Absolutely.
We know that. That's not. There's no gray about whether what he did was wrong. But from a legal standpoint, and in an interpretation of each other's actions, it's messy. You know what I mean? And it's messy.
So maybe I'm toxic again.
So when Cassie said on the step,
if there's a girl today that still loves him, why is that a warped love?
Well, because
I believe that Cassie still loves him. I believe that
It could be
I
rooted in-
believe
it
I
could be
believe
rooted
that
in some-
Gina
Yeah, that's
still
what I,
loves him.
yeah. I mean, like, because there is forms
rooted
of
in fuck shit.
yeah, there's dysfunctional love.
Yeah.
There's like
That
agape
can
love.
happen.
There's healthy forms of love that are built on very strong, healthy bonds. This is not the case.
I think it's the attachment that's unhealthy, not necessarily the love per se.
Got it,
I think it's the attachment.
And where does that attachment
So
come
when
from?
I don't know. I mean, it's weird. And again,
Everybody loves differently. So for us to judge, and again, I'm not saying that it's a right love and wrong love, but who the fuck are we to be the determiner of right and wrong love?
and that's what I'm saying. I'm focusing less on the love, more on the attachment. I think being attached to somebody who's bad for you is unhealthy. I'm not telling people, like you said, I'm not telling people how to love or what
And
to.
there's a lot of motherfuckers out here in the world that are attached to people that may or may not be good for them.
So in
And the
that,
problem- oh, go ahead.
so I was going to say, so in that example, she could be using the word love to describe attachment and not be able to articulate it in a more complex manner.
Right,
You know
because
what
we
I
use
mean?
love for everything.
We do. We
You
don't
know,
say
or not,
attachment.
though.
Or not. But
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Go ahead, Flip. I'm sorry.
When she said that, when they asked her on the stand if she loved Puffy, and she said, "I love the past and for what it was. I love the past and for what it was." What do you conclude that? What do you think that she meant by that? If the past was so bad and she, you know,
She
'cause
said more than that.
Yeah, I know she said more than that, but I want to.
I mean, I would need more context, but I mean, I do think
I love the past and for what it was.
I think she said I'll always
I don't
love
hate
him.
him.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a kind of maturity in that.
It is.
There's an emotional and
Yeah, that's
spiritual
the thing,
maturity
yeah,
in that.
yeah.
You know, there's forgiveness embedded in that. There's an honesty, and there's also an idea of saying that who I am is partly shaped by everything that happened to me, including the fucked up
But
stuff.
that would contradict the statement of her love for him is warped. Because she's already content, she already forgave, she already came to a conclusion.
I feel that.
And she had enough time to me, gain understanding, even after the case that she had the settlement, she has a husband. So to say it's warped, to
Well,
me,
what I'm saying is a continued attachment would be warped, and she's not acknowledging a continued attachment. This is my hypothesis based on what I'm seeing and thinking about some of the statements that have been thrown out. Is that there's a way that all of us deep down sometimes are still tied to things and people, even when we're not honest about it ourselves.
Yeah.
Even if we don't know, it's not even we lying. We just don't realize how connected we. I remember my last cult reference for the day. I promise. But I remember even when he was going through his trial, I just felt like there was a small part of me that still wanted the leader to get free.
That felt sorry for him.
Yeah, it felt sorry for him and wanted him to be found not guilty. And I can't explain it. It's just how I felt.
We can wrap it up. What he's saying is important. I think that we might look at something as warped, right? But I think that any relationship that any of us has been through, there have been immense good times, and
some
then
bad,
unfortunately, hopefully the bad times weren't as intense as the good times. But there's people, and she was with Puff for 10 years, yo. So she's seen him probably at his most highs and his lowest lows, right? And so you got to encompass all of that. You can't compartmentalize the good versus the bad. I'm sure that there were great times with them and there were bad times with them. That's some of the shit that creates the gray for me. Like one of the things that they brought up was, fam, she brought up the lawsuit shit once they had to move in with Homeboy's family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so some of those things, it's open to interpretation, yo. I just don't think it's a black or white. I think Puff did a bunch of fucked up shit to this girl.
But if the judge is not letting it be open to interpretation, then I do think he's guilty.
Then you're railroad.
Right.
Yeah. And I think you're
I
railroad.
do think he's guilty. And yeah, if it's against the law to have somebody fly over here for the purpose of sex work,
Right.
then
And that's what you
Commercial
did.
sex work. Right.
If I
That's
can't
what it-
offer someone drugs, you got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at all of the people that took the stand as the victims that they say that they are, then you got them.
That's what I'm saying. They got him dead to rights. Random question: if he gets off, is there a big party?
Who goes?
That was gonna be my follow up.
No, I don't think so.
I don't.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you
there's
mean
gonna,
a
there's
real
going to be
party.
some type of party.
Yeah, if Puff gets
They-
off or all
Yes.
these
Who
things.
goes?
Well,
Everybody that's been quiet.
yes. So we all think he throws the party.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if the
1000%.
public
I don't
knows
think-
about it,
yeah,
but
there
there
will
will
be-
be a party.
There will be a party, and there will be a lot of people who have been very quiet, waiting for this moment.
Who gonna show
Who
up?
gonna show up? Hey, dog, I ain't
Hugging
said
the shit out of him too.
I ain't said shit.
I don't think there will be a public party because I think it'll be in bad taste, and I think he's learned his lesson about how he conducted himself even pre-trial. Right after the shit, like he was out here celebrating, playing around in the grass in New York, and all that other
Running the
shit.
streets
I
up.
think you realize, my nigga, you're not as powerful as you once thought you were. That there are people that make you look like a peon out here in this world. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't think he would have this big public New Year's Eve soiree like he's known to be having. But I think he would have a nice little get together.
Even if they book him, I do feel like there's a chance he gets pardoned anyway.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's 100% off the table like it is
not.
for Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic, keep trying. Anytime they
Why
release
you
somebody.
keep talking about Joe?
Because every time he pardons somebody, Joe Exotic writes
It's
a
like,
letter.
what the fuck
Like,
is that?
hey.
What about me?
I think a pardon is likely, even depending on what charge he gets convicted on. Like, because Trump's argument is going to be this was an unfair application of the law. For example, your point about the sex trafficking, that could be one. The prostitution could be one.
Trump like, y'all flew him out before, my nigga.
Right. Or this is an unfair attack on businesses by calling it the RICO. I think there's a way that Trump is going to have to language it, depending on what the
I don't think he's going to give any language for
Word.
it. Free my guy. That's it.
Yeah, my boy.
My boy, exactly.
sending the
He ain't
new
gonna-
Air Force
he's
One
not
to
gonna
get
give
you.
a fucking
Have
reason.
they proved that it was organized crime?
Again, by the definition
by
of what I've
definition,
seen,
yeah,
yes.
I think so.
Just by using like company staff, company funds, all those things, it becomes an organizational thing, even with just him. Again, I don't like that application of the law, but I think it's technically accurate. And I think that's another place for a president to say, I'm going to pardon you, or maybe even not pardon you, but what's the other thing? Commute.
So if he like used the Bad Boy credit card or the Sean John credit card
To order off Backpage,
Yeah.
and fly somebody from Idaho to come fuck.
using that credit card for the air tickets.
That's sex trafficking, and it's
Organized
and it's which makes it organized, right? So that's the argument that they're again. It's not,
Yeah.
Anyway,